Hello geometry students, welcome to the continuing lesson on similar right triangles. And in this video we're going to talk about how to solve for some missing variables. And here we have the variable a that we're solving for. So what that means is that the variable a has to be in the triangles that we use. So we have some options. We can choose to compare the small one to the medium one. We can choose to compare the small one, this is the one shaded in blue, to the large one, or we can also compare the medium one to the large one. Okay. So I've decided here to compare the large to the small, and the reason for that is if you look at this picture, the variable AD, it's part of the small triangle. And then another thing that's nice, this side here, AB, it's a part of the small triangle. This length here is part of the small triangle, but it's also a part of the big triangle. So it's going to allow us to simplify our work. Okay, and I'll show you what I mean. So we're going to start out with comparing we're always going to put the values of the large triangle over the value of the small triangle, just to keep things simple. So we're going to start out here with AB. Okay. If you see here, AB, part of the large, is equal to 6. Or actually, I'm going to write the letters first. AB here is part of the large triangle, and that matches up with AD, which is this length right here of the small one. So that's AD. Okay. And then we needed to set up another fraction over here. Excuse me. And we also need to set up, the same thing, a large over a small, some length in the large triangle over some length in the smaller triangle. And I'm going to take advantage of the fact that AB is a part of the small triangle as well. If you look at here, I have letter A and B, that's also part of the small triangle. So I'm going to put AB down here. And then if we're comparing AB as part of the small one, you can see it's the hypotenuse of the small one. Then that must match up with AC on the large triangle. So put AC in there. Okay. And now once we have that set up, we can fill in the values. AB is equal to 6. AD is the thing we're solving for. That's letter A, or variable A. AC is 12. And AB is 6 again. So we keep going, multiply both sides by 6. And multiply both sides by A. We get 12A. Many of you are familiar with this as cross multiply. So 36 is equal to 12A, which means that 3 is equal to A. I'm going to write it over here just because I want to save space for the next problem. So over here, 3 is equal to A. Okay. And there you have it, our first example of how to solve for a missing variable in one of these similar right triangle questions. Alrighty, so on to the next one. I'm going to do this on a separate sheet of paper just because I'm running out of space on the other sheet. You might want to do the same. And I've labeled my triangle this way, ABC, and then D is this point right here. And since this time we are solving for this W plus 9 is this length right here. And you can see that this length is shared by the small triangle and the medium one. Okay, so this length is shared by the two of them, so that's what I'm going to compare, small to medium. So this is the one that's a little bit trickier, so I'm going to start with the small one. Triangle ADB is similar to, and this one's a little bit harder to write, and the similarity statement I think is the most important part. You can see that in the small one, the letter D refers to the right triangle, and it's in the middle here, so this is also has to be D. the way that this works out is that if you look at the proofs from the previous page, it's this angle up here, this little angle. Let me use a different color. This little angle up here, okay, is actually going to be congruent to this little angle down here. So letter A of the small one is equal to B of the other one. So this is going to be B. And then the only letter that's left over in the medium one is C. So once we have that set up, then we can start making some comparisons, writing a proportion and solving it. So first I'm going to compare DB. So I'm going to have, let's see, it doesn't really matter how you do this, you just kind of have to decide. I'm going to go small over medium in the way that I set this one up. Okay. So I'm going to go, let's see, DB, that's this length here, has to match up with DC. DB goes to DC, matches with DC. And then I have to do the same thing over here. And medium. Okay. And I'm going to, again, take advantage of this side length again. I'm going to, because it's a part of the small and a part of the medium. So this time I'm going to say BD, using the medium here, BD. And that matches up with the first two letters of the other one, AD. And now that we got that set up, we can start to fill in some of the missing pieces, some of the values here. So BD is W plus 9 over DC is 18 equals AD is 8 divided by BD is W plus 9. So multiply both sides by 18, so 8 times 18 over here, and multiply both sides by W plus 9 over there. So 8 times 18 gives me 144. And over here, W plus 9 times W plus 9 is just W plus 9 squared. Take the square root of both sides. This gives me 12. This gives me, the square root and the square actually cancel, so it gives me W plus 9. Subtract 9 from both sides, and W is equal to 3. Okay. And there you have it. That's a solution to that question.